give me that garbage. Gotta take out the trash. Give me that garbage. Gotta throw it away, throw it away, throw it away. Give me that garbage. 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 Give me that garbage.
Who did this? This movie is horrible. Like, how can you make it this bad? I was really kind of looking forward to Eli Roth directing this, because I was like, well, what's he gonna do with this, you know? Like, he could give us an interesting take on this.
No.
So everything in this movie is bad. The action, the characters, the direction, the writing. I'm trying to figure out what to talk about first. Just going into this movie, someone that doesn't know much about the Borderlands or these characters, what I was expecting is, I was expecting Guardians of the Galaxy camaraderie, relationship building and stuff like that. Like very damaged people who are coming together to make like a little family, kind of a little messed up family. And they needed somebody to be able to do that. Obviously, that was not Eli Roth or anybody that was working on this movie, because the camaraderie between these characters is pretty much non-existent. There's none. It's not there. There's like manufactured moments to try to build camaraderie, but it's not natural. It's so forced and it's just done so poorly. And there's some characters that just literally never interact. Probably the best relationship is obviously between Lilith and Tina. That's the most developed one. There's no development between any of the other characters. Literally none. It's horrible. Like there was one scene where Ronan and Lilith seem like they might butt heads a little bit with the way that they're both tough, hard-headed people or whatever. And they're both leaders, and so they both want to kind of lead, I think is what they were trying to do this one scene. I could be wrong though. I could be manufacturing character building because I want it to be there. So I'm like, I think I see it. Like, I think it's there. I think I see something. Tell me you guys see it too. They barely interact. I wanted to see these characters interact. Like in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting some camaraderie like you see in Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, that was going to be something that people were going to kind of compare this to. But it makes sense because that's the point. If you cannot get the relationship between these characters, then don't even make the movie, because that's the point. Was this an AI movie? Was this written by AI? It was just like the most generic, fun summer action movie, except it had absolutely no heart to it. It was completely empty. Oh, okay, yeah, let's talk about the action in this movie. This is some of the worst action I think I've ever seen in a movie. Like a big budget movie like this. And the problem is, this entire movie, there's so many action scenes, but this movie has no business having this many action scenes when whoever is directing or choreographing these action scenes has no business choreographing action scenes. These are so bad. Like I said, there's a bunch of them. There's a ton of these. Like, it's like this movie is so worried that you're not going to pay attention. It's so worried. It is holding your hand the entire time. It's like, oh, come on, please come with me. You don't want to fall off this ledge. And it's so annoying. Like, you don't have to have an explosion. You don't have to have an action scene every 4 seconds to keep me engaged. Actually, maybe you do, because there's nothing else compelling in this freaking story or movie. But that honestly, the action scenes were even more boring, I thought. There were like a few little shots here and there that I thought was kind of cool. There's one shot where they're in a car and they go off a cliff with their car, and Ronan shoots the back of this worm monster's head out or whatever, and then they go through it. I don't know, that scene was kind of cool. Sue me, I like scenes like that. I think that's fun. It reminds me of a scene I made up when I was little. It had something It was similar to that, except it was a dragon. The action scenes in here, they're very fast. They're close up. They move around a bunch. It moves around way too fast. You don't know what's going on. You can't appreciate any of the movement. And it's not like if it slowed down, you probably would be able to appreciate it, because I doubt these are well choreographed action scenes. Every 4 seconds, we had a freaking action scene. Some poor, pathetic excuse for an action scene that I could have fallen asleep to. Abysmal. Some of the worst action scenes I've seen in a long time. I'm trying to think of ones that are worse. I'm sure you could go find some really bad action scenes in some really corny movies, but for a movie like this is pretty freaking bad. So this movie is pretty short. I was actually really surprised because the movie started at 7:40, and then I got out and it was like 9:30, and I was like, I was only in there for an hour and a half. I thought it's gonna be like 11 o'clock because it just dragged on. It just kept going. It's so predictable too. I knew exactly what was gonna happen. Here, spoilers, just so you know. The chosen one or whatever that can open the vault is not Tina. It's Lilith. And it's not a surprise at all. Not even a little bit. You're like, yeah, I got that from the very first scene. Oh man, this is such garbage. This is garbage. And I feel bad for saying that because to a degree, the movie seems to be just trying to give you a fun time at the movie theater, which I have no problem with. That's what I felt like Deadpool and Wolverine was. It was just there to entertain me. And that's all it was. It wasn't trying to lecture me. And there's just been so many movies and shows lately where that's what it wants to do. So when a movie doesn't do that, it's just like a miracle at this point. But I'm not going to give points to a movie just because it doesn't lecture me. It's kind of like if you have a boyfriend who just cheats on you all the time, and then they mature a little bit or something, and they're like, I'm a good boyfriend now because now I don't cheat. And it's like, that doesn't make you a good boyfriend. You're just doing the basic things you expect from a boyfriend. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the movie. Just because you're not lecturing me and talking down to me about some very obvious moral quandary doesn't mean that I'm just going to give you points. It's like, no, none of you should do that. I shouldn't expect that all the time anyway. So stop acting like you're doing anything special. Gosh, this movie is so bad. And there was this one really cool looking guard, and I kept thinking, I was like, are we going to get something cool with him? Are we going to get a cool fight? No. This movie doesn't want to have a moment. It does not want to have camaraderie. It wants to build camaraderie between Lilith and Tina. And that's about it. Other than that, screw everybody else. So in the end of the movie, you do not feel like there is camaraderie with anyone except for kind of Tina and Lilith a little bit. And it comes out of nowhere. Like I said, there's literally moments that are supposed to manufacture relationships because it tells you so. Like there's a scene where Tina comes out and she's like, says like a little sob story. And it's like nothing really built to that. You know when you're watching a movie and if it's done right, when there is an emotional scene or when somebody decides they are going to tell everybody their true thoughts or their feelings or whatever, or have an emotional moment, if it's done right, it shouldn't make you cringe. You should actually be like, oh yes, I want to get to know this character more. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm excited to hear this. This isn't cringy. I'm invested in this character. But when you have these kinds of characters that are so empty and so boring with no complexities, and then they just start giving some sob story, you're like, oh, all right. Just makes me uncomfortable. Like, why are you even telling this person? Like, why is Tina telling Lilith her sad story? Who cares? The way characters are introduced, the fact that we're supposed to just believe that these characters are just a family all of a sudden. Like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy did it. Okay? You guys go ahead and mention some other movies that have built really good camaraderie. Whether you like Guardians of the Galaxy or not, which, how do you not like Guardians of the Galaxy? They're the best, okay? The camaraderie between them really does work. There's a lot of chemistry between the characters that are in the movie. The actors, they have good chemistry with each other, and it's written well, and they all work really well together. Like I said, there's barely any time where we get individual characters to interact with each other. How is it this bad? I knew something was up because when I was looking up the times for this movie, I was expecting there to be quite a few time slots, and I think there was only like 5, which is not a good sign for a movie, especially a movie that just came out. I do like Cate Blanchett. I do think that they should have picked a younger woman. She doesn't have to be like 20, but even 40 would have been okay. She just looks a little bit too old. She's had like stuff done on her face, and it's a little bit distracting. It just looks a little bit weird. Also, Moxie, once again, could they have picked someone like a little bit younger? I don't know. I don't know how old that lady is, but at one point, Ronan, Kevin Hart's character, calls one of the soldier people that are in armor, calls him like a stormtrooper piece of crap or something. Like, I'm sorry. Did you just break the fourth wall? Do you guys have Star Wars in this universe? But that was really weird. But the truth is, honestly, we've had for quite a while now the perfect Borderlands movie in the form of the Telltale Borderlands game. All right, but that's really all I have for today. This movie really was so bad. That's coming from somebody that doesn't know that much about the actual game. But please let me know what you guys think about it, especially people that are actual fans of the game. I want to know how it compares to the game. And if you did like it, that's fine too. It's okay. Not everybody has tastes, you know. I don't have good taste in music, I've been told. This is the Happy Critic. Let me know what you thought about the movie. Just keep watching movies and keep being happy. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
What's happening right now?
I'm expelling the excess lead. I can't go if you're looking at me. Ooh, actually, scrap that. I can. I really can. Actually, it's helping.
Are we really waiting for this to finish?
Keep looking at me.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?